If you become a certain diabetic, you're gonna shoot yourself for the rest of your life. For to control the insulin, and then if you end up in dialysis, that's even worse. You got to go like 2-3 times into the doctor office and filter out your blood system, right? So that's painful. And then if it goes worse, you're gonna get you can get gout. You can get your toes and fingers can start falling off and rotting. So diabetes is not a light thing that you should just brush off, all right? And it is caused by sugar, refined sugar. And even if you cut off refined sugar, and you have to look at your ingredients, almost everything, it all has sugar. You have to be more disciplined and stay away from sugar. But white bread and white rice, although it doesn't say sugar because that is a processed food and they took all the nutrients out, once you eat the white rice or white bread, it turns into sugar in your body system. And so it's like you're eating sugar. And so it's going to aggravate, diabetes or whatnot. So as you get older, maybe when you're young, like kids up here, they eat cereal, bread, and whatever. It's not affecting them, but just give it 10, 20 years and it's going to all add up, right? So I want you to, start choosing to go to more of a healthy lettuce, leafy. Okay, not when you go to the restaurants and eat and order salad, they give you iceberg lettuce. That's almost like, might as well drink water. It doesn't really have a lot of nutritional value on iceberg lettuce. You have to have the greens, the spinach, the spring leaves and all that mixed in, and maybe some fruit and nuts. I don't use any dressing, okay? You pour dressing and smother it, you just ruined it. You don't even need to eat it no more. We use, Pastor Eugene and I, we just use olive oil, and I use vinegar, right? The mother raw, whatever. And I got used to it, and I use it, and I put a lot of olive oil, and I got used to it, so it's fine to me now. I got used to black coffee, right, instead of putting the sugar, so I'm used to it. And once you decrease sugar, salt, all that, later when you eat something, it's going to go, whoa, you're going to realize how salty American food is. You're going to realize how sugary American food is too. And the food industry are putting sugar in to make you addictive, really, to that food, because you're eating more than you actually should. That's why we have an obesity and a health problem in the U.S., okay? So I want you to take that into consideration. It's going to affect your brain, right? Your thinking process, your mood. It's affecting your whole ambiance, right? So I think maybe for some of the, your diets are all different. Some people need to eat a lot of meat. Some people don't want a lot of meat. So, but I think for the men, we're more, we need a lot of meat, I think, right? And so maybe you want to go to grass-fed, 100%. Maybe some beef organs, okay? Grass-fed beef organs. So they say, I don't know if it's true, like the people before, they would eat the animal organs because it's good for them, a lot of nutrition. So it's like, if you're working out, you want protein, right? So what do? You eat protein, you eat the meat. So maybe if you have a brain problem, you eat the brain. Maybe, I don't know. Or the liver, right? Got a lot of stuff you need. So kidney, beef heart, they got certain type of vitamins that you might be lacking. And I think if you try it, maybe you'll start feeling better. So I'm taking actually some beef organs, and I'm moving away from most of the vitamins, and I'm just going to a core, right? I'm going to a core. And so I think it's working I don't know if one particular work is working really well or if it's a combination, but my sleep has become much better now. And also I'm adding exercise, of course, too, right? So it's becoming much deeper and much much better, right? So also what used to wake me up is my lower back pain, because sometimes when you're sleeping, my back pain will start aggravating, and then I'm get woken up. So you have to get rid of the inflammations in your body. A lot of the inflammation is caused by red meat. Why? Because the red meat has a lot of pesticide and GMO products that they eat, and the environment that they're raised in. So you want to move into the natural stuff if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, just try to limit eating a lot of that meat, right? So I think you heard last night I spoke about Elder Lance. He has, what's it called? Dermatitis? Dandruff? So it's a hole in your intestine, right? Something like that. So I recommended to Elder Loretta that she should feed him some intestine. Maybe if you eat intestine, your intestine get healed. No? It's not funny? Anyway, back to Elder Daniel's business. Later as they shared their testimony of what they went through with God, through the pastors, how they had to, keep their composure and not get offended and all that. I want them to share more in detail. Today we're going to have Heidi. She's going to share to you a season she went through. So I think for our particular church, because if you remember Pastor Chris from Korea, the previous translator for Pastor Bishop, he said he had a dream about our church that he saw many people in business suits, right? And so we presume at that time the translation is that we'll have many business people in our church. And so I think that for our church that you're going to be given something for you, okay? It's not going to necessarily be like what I got. So I got is not just, you're not going to just have whatever I got. It's going to be for your particular personality or your dreams or your desires. And so when God gave a word for Elder Daniel, help him start a business. And so the traditional thought was, okay, he likes cars and he's OCD, right, when it comes to cleaning. And so we thought maybe car wash, mobile car wash, because God gave Pastor Eugene image of a van, mobile van. So we thought maybe he could do a mobile car wash. And there are some that do that, of course, but the mobile car wash is really hard to get a high margin. And high margin means, something very profitable. But he does ceramic coating, which is like a waxing the car. And if you can get some money out of this, you can do like $300 to $500 per car. But the problem with that is finding a natural demand for that product, right? And it's very hard to create a demand with that product because you have to sell the person, say, hey, I got this product and it's going to last for X amount of years and make your car look shiny and protective coating. In their mind, why do I want to pay $500 when I could just do a natural regular wax? Because it's not an immediate impact, of value for them. So what happened was, I'm going to share with you how God talks to me to convey a message to you. God may talk to my wife very directly, and you may get a message very directly. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen with me, but you have to understand how God communicates with all of us, okay? Because if you just stick to the one traditional, like, okay, I got to hear from God, directly, audibly, you're shortchanging yourself. So I think it was last year or the year before, or last year, and I had this drive to, when I had the Toyota 4Runner, the car I got is a loaner right now because our car's in the shop for warranty work. But when we had the 4Runner, I had this urge, like, I want to fix it up, So I got the calipers. The calipers are the yellow thing. I had the yellow covers for the brakes. If you don't, HD got them on his car. So I got the calipers, I re-tinted my windows, and it looked clean, you know, and I also shined the tires, and in that moment I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna keep my car really nice and clean and shiny, just like Elder Daniel does, right? And I thought, okay, I'll try washing it too every weekend. And I'm like, after one wash, I was like, oh, it ain't gonna work. Because, you know, you gotta bend down, and I'm like, oh, it's not for me. And after I did all that, the drive went away. And I was like, no big deal again, right? I'm just like, okay, just keep the car decent and then it's fine. I can't see my calipers, you know, when you drive, you can't see it. But other people can see it. So I'm sure it looked good, maybe, I hope. So when God says help him with the business, our first thought is, okay, cleaning business for the car, or detailing, or maybe the ceramic wash, right? And I'm thinking about it, because you know, he said last night to you that God told the pastors to start this business. And I'm going to share with you how it came about. And so the word comes, and now the assignment's given to me. You know, Pastor Adrian gives the assignment to me. God said, help them start a business. So I'm praying and I'm thinking. And so I'm thinking, okay, if we do the ceramic business, how are we going to market it? How are we going to, you know, how are we going to scale it? If he does car wash, that's very labor intensive, and he's not a young guy, you know. Elder Daniel's getting old too, like me, so detailing also, a lot of is labor intensive. It'll keep us in shape, but still, you have to work a lot harder. And so as I was thinking, God helped me remember when I was tinting my car. At that time, I took Evelyn's car and my car to go get it tinted. And I called them, and they're like, you should make a reservation. I go, appointment. And I said, oh, really? Because they said we get booked out. I said, wow, they're pretty busy. And then, so I picked one in Hayward, and it's it's the size of maybe our small building. And they charge from $250 to $450 to do your whole, you know, front and rear. And based on whether you pick the generic product or the high quality product, you can go high as $450. And so when I got there, I was talking to the guy, and he's like, yeah, most of the time we're booked. So I was thinking, okay, if you average $300 a car, and you're gonna run, they had like 5 guys in the shop tinting, and you're gonna run 20 cars a day, because you're telling me you're booked every day. 20 times 3 is, you're grossing $6,000 tinting windows. 6 times 7 is 42,000, right? So if you're doing 40,000 a week, then you're doing 4 times 4 a month. You're doing 150, 160,000 a month, potentially, right? Because they're busy. They want an appointment. And so the thought came to me, and I asked them, I said, okay, I think you need to look elsewhere. And I said, we need a product that someone can have an immediate visual impact, that is willing to pay money. Because if you do the ceramic, you're not going to get the immediate visual impact. Why? If they bring a new car, it's already shining. And so when you wax it, with ceramic, it's not going to look like much of a difference, you see, because it's already shining. But the tint job will give you an immediate impact and a value to that customer. So I asked both of them, I said, what do you think? Of course, Elder Ellen came up with the answer, tinting, right? And so I did some research, and they have schools for that. Right, so the cheapest is like $500. Most expensive that we're aware of is $2,500 for like a 4-day course. And so I said, you pick the school, you research it, you pick the school, pick the most expensive one, so you can get something quality out of it, right? And so he picked the one in Modesto. Spent 3 nights, 4 days there, and he got a certificate, as he told you last night. He also got top of the class, I think you got 100%. So he got 100% on tinting. No bubbles. Because he's OCD. And it wasn't in their radar, but I'm sure it's going to be something he enjoys. But you got to understand how this works. We can presume one thing and be led in a direction. Now, as he's in school, if you heard him last night, one of the employees there took him aside and said, hey, are you interested in doing contracting tinting? If you want to do car tinting, you'll make a good living, but if you do contracting, you're going to be rich. Because you can do a day's work tinting office windows and you can get paid $6,000, right? Or more. And just have maybe, one other guy with you, and you can just knock it down perhaps. Cars is like you're gonna have more labor and you gotta run more cars, but you're gonna have a bigger bidding process with the contracting work. So this lady was looking for an installer, and so he called her, and he said he'll be on his third interview next Wednesday. And she's offering a turnkey. I'm gonna teach you from sales to install. See, a turnkey, she's gonna teach him the whole thing, how to operate in this business. And when I first started with him, I said, I want you to have a 5-year plan mindset. You're not gonna get rich overnight and you're not gonna be successful overnight, but you should have a roadmap. And initially I was gonna send them, go work for a tint shop and just tint cars for a while. You come out of the academy, you're gonna get paid $25, $30 an hour, to learn the trade. So it looks like, you gotta understand how God works here, right? Even with Faye, God has given her an employer who's willing to give them a turnkey. Like he's forking up the initial investment, he's taking a risk with them and teaching them the business. You see, out of nowhere. And in this case also, Elder Daniel, where now he's in position where this company is willing to teach him from start to business, and later he can either start his own or whatever may happen, partnership, we don't know, right? But building momentum. And this is something, we did try to start some businesses before, because he's a good, when it comes to cleaning, he's really good at that. He's very anal. It's very clean. But it's in a direction that he's very good at, you see? So I think that in our church, God has something for all of you. And when you get to that place in time and destination, he'll have the world like Potiphar, because Joseph learned and got trained under Potiphar, you see, to teach you, but you have to be willing to go to the bottom. You see, when Elder Daniel first got here, he didn't want to go to the bottom, but he was forced to go to the bottom, and he had to go learn and work, willing to do the low-end job so he can learn from A to Z, you see. But I want you to understand that it's more than that. To get to this level where God's going to open some door for you, your heart has to be ready, right? Your heart has to be ready. You have to be, if you're going to get a blessing through this church, you have to be in alignment with this ministry. Mavericks are not going to get, you're just going to end up with the crumbs. And if you're too prideful to submit yourself to this ministry because you have an offense towards me, or you're jealous at my wife or me, or whatever the case may be, you'll be at a certain level, and it might be good, but you're never going to get to that higher realm, okay? That where God said in the Bible, I want to give you more than you actually expect, and I'm going to overflow it. This is not just about money, of course, right? Although money is used to give us breakthrough and to make your lives easier. And I was thinking, if God blesses you or me individually, financially, if he gets you out of certain debt, but you don't learn nothing, you're just going to go back into debt. If you don't learn nothing and go through the process, what he gives you, you're going to just waste away, and you'll be in the same boat. If you have a health problem and you're overweight and God supernaturally heals you and you don't fix your eating habit, you're just going to go back, you're going to end up sick again. So he may actually force you to get to the healing, to go backwards and start developing habits that are good for you. You see, which then you're showing your choice. I choose God's way. I choose to be healthy. I choose submission and surrender to God. See, that's what you're doing. But if you keep thinking like, okay, I'm going to pray and God's going to give me my breakthrough and jackpot without you going through anything, it's not going to really happen. And if you've been here a long time and you're still going to go another decade, you're just wasting time, right? You're just wasting time. Could the elders, matas, have got to this place earlier? Perhaps, but we don't know. But maybe they had to also go through this, right? They had to go through what they had to go through to develop maturity. And so whatever you go through, what I come to realize is this. Satan, the principle of Satan, he fell because he wanted something he couldn't have. And yet God gave him everything. Okay, he's the most beautiful angel. He's got power, he's got authority, he's got jewels on him. He's the top general in a sense. And then he comes to Adam and Eve and imparts his problem to them. We don't know where they were in that state of perfection, wholeness, fellowship, communion with God. It's settled. And yet Satan comes to them, but you still don't got one thing. You can be like God. And they made them think, I could be like God. But yet they were like God in many ways. And so Satan comes to us continuously. Why don't you have what they got? And so it makes you think, yeah, I worked hard for God. I gave a lot to God. I've been a Christian for decades. Why isn't God giving me what he's given to the other kids? So Satan is imparting the principle of Satan onto God's people. And if you keep thinking that way, you are actually participating in evil. The only way to get out of that is that you have to know one thing. You know what humility is? Humility is knowing your moment in time, right now. What you got right now in present. The level you're at. The possessions, the whatever you have already experienced in breakthrough, your healing and the blessings, and even being in this country. This current level where you're at is sufficient for you. And what someone else has is sufficient for them. And if you look over and say, I want what they got, you're just a thief. And you're operating in pride. And you'll never get to thankfulness of where you're at right now. Of what he's done for you. For you to get to this place, moment in time, he suffered greatly. And you need to be just thankful for today. And then when you get to tomorrow, you're thankful for tomorrow because you're better tomorrow than you were yesterday. and you compare your own life to yourself. Don't compare your life to anybody else. If somebody did good, praise the Lord. You want to give God glory? That's what you do. You get jealous, you're not giving glory, you're taking glory. If you want true humility, you look at your life right now. This is what I got. This is sufficient. This is my level. This is what I can handle at my level of grace. That's humility. When you want something more you can't handle, that's pride. Principle of Satan. And you're gonna fall continuously. That's what's gonna happen. And you're gonna end up shortchanging, and you're gonna become grumpy and complaining, and you're gonna end up like Cain, and you're gonna murder with your thoughts and your words, and you're gonna be a miserable Christian. And how can a Christian be miserable? A miserable Christian is not one who's walking with God or in the presence of God. You are walking with the enemy because you're operating in your flesh. And in that moment, I know it can be hard. He's like, I gotta get rid of this. And you're torting, demons trying to come out. And if that's your problem, regardless of all the other problems, you need to be on your knees, crying out to God, which means praying to God. God, I need to get this out. And that's your job. That's your job. Don't try to do things that are not in your season. Whether it comes to even business or trying to make extra money or trying to survive mode, that's your job. And when you get right with God, everything falls in place. God will provide for your kids' college. You don't need to worry about that. God will lead you to purchasing a house, car, restore your marriage, family. It's all natural. It just falls into place. Boom, boom. When your relationship with God is back in alignment. You see, that's what you have. That's the core that you got to go after. You're going after things that He can give you, thinking that's going to fill you. And you got some stuff, it's still empty. And so you get angry. Well, how come? Oh, I guess I need more. You're just a drug addict, spiritually. I'm talking too long. One last thing. If you want life, the way God has shown us life, if you're an individual, you're yearning for something, right? You're yearning for completion. And for, like, if you're a man, the wife, in a sense, completes you. If you're a woman, you're looking for the man. Otherwise, if you're empty, you're looking for something that makes you whole and completes you. So you might go to drugs, you might go to drinking, you might go to promiscuity, pornography, and you think that this is going to relieve you because what you're looking for, you're looking for life, because you have to bring male and female to produce life. Male and male don't make life. It's a mutation. You need that bonding. You're missing something. And so, in the physical sense, God is showing us how your spouse to bring life. And so, to get the eternal wholeness, you need to find that life in Christ. And you need to really think about this, okay? If you're still feeling empty and it's not clicking, it's because you have theology in your head and you have not come to full surrender. And if you don't know what that means, you got to ask God, what does it mean, God? I don't know what it means. I don't know how to surrender. I don't know what to do, God. I don't know what faith means. I don't know what I'm doing. then you in that position of weakness, he can come and answer you. But if you're like, I know everything, even though you're a big hole, walking around with a big hole, I know everything, God can't answer you because your pride is too big. When you come to true brokenness, if you actually cry up here or cry down there, you don't think your tears are, oh, they must be touched by God. No. My wife and I know, okay, if you're actually touched by God. We feel in the spirit, there's a connection. Otherwise, you're just crying my life sucks. No. And you got to know that for yourself. And you should, when you cry, you should thank God. Am I crying because you're touching me and I'm coming to the cross, or is it because my life is so frustrated? You should ask.